See, there are two ways of interpreting the comment. One is to say that different people from different parts of the country have different features, and therefore there is some diversity in our physiognomical features, our culture, and still we have one country. But it's one thing to perhaps reinforce certain racist stereotypes or ethnic stereotypes. And I certainly don't have a problem as someone who comes from the South if I'm compared with Africans. And on that, I completely agree with Mr. Annamalai's take on the point. Because I don't see that as a matter of insult or whatever it is. But it just so happens that it represents a broader problem, an even more disturbing issue, where the ones who wish to come to power see Bharat as some kind of incongruent nation, which has been synthetically created by the colonizer, but for whose munificence we wouldn't be a single nation. That is the problem. And I'm connecting two different statements here. One is Mr. Cherian's interview, and the second is Mr. Pitroda's statement, both of them put together. The problem is then you assume that but for a nation state, or let's say a government wielding some kind of stick, Bharatiyas among themselves are incapable of acting and living together as a country. That challenges the very notion that we are a civilization state, that we have always been one civilizationally, and that we may have exist as political units in different forms, as separate political units, but civilizationally we have been one, has been the central message that I would have expected both political parties to be on the same page on. It's surprising that as part of this election, some deep-seated differences on the basics, on the fundamentals of who we are as a society and as a country have come to fore, which is what is even more problematic. See, at the end of the day, I'm perfectly comfortable accepting the outcome of a democratic election, one way or the other. That's something that for people to decide as to who they want in power. But at what cost, at what price will this policy be followed, where one of the mainstream parties, which is vying for power at the center, believes in culturally balkanizing the country in order to secure power? And its leading voices, both on the intellectual front and on the public front, make the very same statement but in two different forms. That is what is seriously problematic, according to me.